Safe haven. School kids, scientists, and a president join in the fight to protect monarch butterflies. Safe haven. Winter home. Millions of monarch butterflies spend the winter in oil mill fir forest in Mexico. Their winter temperatures range from 0 degrees to 15 degrees Celsius, or 32 degrees to 59 degrees Fahrenheit. From Science World. Each year, millions of monarchs spend the winter roosting in forests in central Mexico. When March arrives, the butterflies, warmed by the spring sunlight, spread their wings and take to the sky to begin a northward journey to the United States. These butterflies will never see their overwintering home again. They will breed, make babies, and die up north. But in the following fall, their great-grandchildren will flock to the same forest in Mexico to spend the winter. Or will they? Dun, dun, dun. Illegal logging is threatening the winter homes of monarch butterflies. Without the misty forests as shelter, the insects might not survive. Quote, by even taking a single tree out near the butterfly colony, you allow heat to escape from the forest, and that then jeopardizes the butterflies, says Lincoln Brower, a zoologist at Sweetbriar College in Virginia. Last November, and again the publication date is 2008, Mexico's president, Felipe Calderón, announced a plan to help rebuild the butterflies' homes. Take flight. Monarch butterflies take on an annual, large-scale migration because they are dependent on two special types of plants: oyamel fir trees in Mexico and milkweed in North America. See nuts and bolts above. So let's do some cross-checking here. Nuts and bolts, we have a visual of the migration pattern from parent to child to grandchild to great-grandchild. And we have an image here of what milkweed looks like and a description. Let's read the caption. Each March, monarchs flock out of overwintering forest in central Mexico in search of milkweed. In North America, there, successive generations of monarchs live before returning to Mexico to spend the winter. This annual round-trip relay to Mexico is about 6,440 kilometers, or 4,000 miles, long. Wintering monarchs need a cool, moist environment in which to rest, so they flock to oil mill fir trees. These trees grow at high elevations and in limited areas. According to Journey North, an online group that tracks monarch migrations, only 2% of the original oyamel forest in Mexico remain. The forest's cool environment slows the butterfly's metabolism. Because of the slower rate at which the insects convert stored fat into energy, the monarchs can roost in trees throughout the winter without food. These overwintering butterflies have a lifespan of up to 8 months. When spring arrives, milkweed begins to bloom in North America. Monarch butterflies, which will lay their eggs only on milkweed, begin fluttering out of Mexico in droves in search of the plants. The butterflies head north, traveling up to 130 kilometers, or 80 miles, a day. Growth cycle. As they travel, the migrating female butterflies lay eggs for up to 1,000 miles on milkweed plants, says Chip Taylor, an entomologist who studies insects at the University of Kansas. Taylor is also the director of Monarch Watch, a butterfly conservation group. By late March, most of the butterflies that left Mexico have reached Texas and spread across the Gulf states to Florida, and they are dying from exhaustion. It's not just the migration journey that tires them. Laying eggs requires a lot of energy. But new life soon replaces this dying population. The eggs laid during the northward journey begin to hatch. The butterfly larvae, or caterpillars, begin gorging on milkweed, their only food source. Within 2 weeks, the caterpillars grow to more than 2,000 times their birth weight and measure about 5 centimeters, 2 inches, long. Once mature, the insect undergoes a metamorphosis, or body change, shedding its skin, legs, mouth, and antennae. What remains? A sac called a chrysalis, or pupa, which splits open 8 to 12 days later to release a black and orange winged butterfly. Unlike their overwintering elders, these monarchs have a lifespan of only 6 weeks. Beginning in May, the newer generation of monarchs spreads as far west as the Rocky Mountains and as far north as Winnipeg, Canada. After 2 summer generations, the butterflies that emerge between mid-August and September retrace their ancestors' southward migration to Mexico to avoid the deadly deep freeze of North American winters. Scientists are still baffled by how these butterflies instinctively find the overwintering forest that their ancestors knew, but which the butterflies have never seen before. High security. To ensure that there are trees awaiting the species' return, last fall, Mexico's government pledged to spend $4.6 million to step up measures to protect the monarch butterfly biosphere reserve. This 126,000-acre reserve, which includes the monarch's overwintering forest, was created in 1986, but illegal logging within the reserve has been an issue. Last December, in the wake of the government's announcement, park rangers helped arrest 50 people who had illegally cut 6,000 tons of wood within the reserve. We're gaining ground in the fight against illegal logging, Mexico's President Calderon told reporters after the arrests had been made. Many villagers who live near the reserve log the oil mill forest for survival. To encourage a mutually beneficial environment, Mexico's government has joined forces with various conservation groups to develop programs that create jobs for the villagers. That way, they will not have the need to log the forest. Some villagers will be hired as security guards or tour guides in the reserve, which attracts thousands of visitors each winter. Backyard blooms. Butterfly lovers in the United States are also stepping up to help protect the milkweed habitats of monarchs, one of hundreds of butterfly species found in North America. See All in the Family, page 11. Milkweed may be a necessity for monarchs, but they are a nuisance to farmers who grow row crops like corn. In the past 8 years, many farmers have used herbicides or herbicides to wipe out milkweed. Additionally, much farmland in the United States has been converted into housing developments, furthering the decline of milkweed. I'm very concerned about the loss of butterfly habitat in this country, Monarch Watch's Taylor says. To replace some of the milkweed plants that are lost each year, Monarch Watch is working with communities around the country to build way stations for the butterflies. One of these intermediate stops is at the Highland Habitat for Discovery in Ephrata, Pennsylvania. Their teacher, Adrian Shelley, leads students to work together to create a garden that features 3 species of milkweed. Today, there are about 1,800 way stations in the United States that are certified by Monarch Watch, but more are needed. We would need to plant 10,000 way stations a year to make up for the habitat lost, says Taylor. To help the conservation effort, Priscilla Branda, age 13, is raising and releasing monarchs in New Jersey. It's often hard work, but Priscilla thinks it's worth it. I wouldn't want to see monarch butterflies disappear, she says. I feel the world would be much more dull without their colorful wings. By Emily Costello.